March 14th, 2024, had a meeting of the Nelson County School Board to order. And our first order of business is to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And who's, you do?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So I will need a motion to approve the agenda, but I believe we may have an amendment to our agenda, so I'll need a motion to amend.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda, please.
Make a motion? Okay. So can we amend both items for information and items for action for discussion on Monday, April 8th, as well as a resolution on Monday, April 8th?
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will add both of those to both sections of the agenda, to items for information and items for action. Okay, the agenda is approved. So now we're at recognitions and presentations. Student presentation and teacher shortages.
On teacher shortage.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to have some new contacts. This is not working that well. On teacher shortages by Addison Hopkins and Adriana Vigilante. Welcome.
So, hi, I'm Addison,
Hi, I'm Adriana.
and we have decided to do our presentation on the effects of a teacher shortage. Okay, so a little bit about our project. We are in a club called FCCLA, and in April, we will be going to the State Leadership and Recognition Conference at Virginia Beach. And we will be presenting a professional presentation on the effects of teacher shortages. Through informative efforts, we aim to attract potential teachers and keep the ones that we already have. We've witnessed firsthand the impact the situation has had on both us as students and our fellow teachers as well.
Teachers play a crucial role not only in students' academic development, but also in their emotional growth. They guide students discovering their identities and shaping their characters, contributing significantly to their overall development as individuals. I know me personally through my, 14 years of high school, seniors, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've had a couple of teachers who have been a good influence on me, as in Miss Addison, who is my FCCLA teacher and was also my 3rd grade teacher. So she's been with me since I was this small. And my 10th grade geometry teacher, Miss Brown, she had a great impact on me. And I'm so sad that she had to leave us in the school, but it's okay.
And some teachers for me as well would be Miss Scott, and she was an English teacher of mine, and me and her actually got close when she wasn't even my English teacher. Somebody else was. And yeah, teachers have had a massive impact on me as well. Okay, so here are some statistics on teacher shortages. So since 2014, there has been a consistent decline in the number of teachers nationwide. The impact of COVID-19 in 2020 exacerbated this trend, leading to a significant decrease in the number of educators. So we've constantly seen a decline in the number of teachers that we have nationwide. The data indicates that prior to the 2022-2023 school year, 10,900 teachers, no, wrong one, sorry. In 2022, the National Education Association conducted a survey revealing that 55% of teachers expressed a desire to leave the profession. That's over half teachers nationwide discussed in the desire to leave teaching. And then the data indicates that prior to the 2022-2023 school year, 10,900 teachers exited the workforce, whereas Virginia schools recruited only 7,208 teachers holding first-time licenses. These figures paint a clear picture that we are losing more teachers than we can afford to, and we are not able to refill those positions quickly enough at all.
Okay, so here are my stats. Most schools don't appreciate teachers enough, not just in Virginia, but nationwide. For example, 40% of school division leaders and principals describe their current staff shortages as severe or very severe. And then 800 to 3,300. From 2020, 800 positions were vacant for teachers, which then switched to 3,300 in the span of 2 years, which is 2020 through 2022, statewide. And then the 17 plus. My past 4 years in high school, 17 plus teachers have left or quit in Nelson County High School, which is a pretty good amount for just 4 years.
Okay, so I had the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Dr. Hester, your superintendent. And so we wanted information from experts who are in the field of teaching and who are of like a higher level that went beyond teaching. So Dr. Hester proclaims that being an educator was immensely challenging and emotionally and mentally demanding. She also wants to develop a sense of pride within Nelson and wants to ensure that every teacher, whether teaching an elective or core class, was respected and valued. So she basically she knows that teaching is a hard job and basically wants to bring that value back to teachers and wants to show teachers that they are very appreciated no matter what they think and that we appreciate them quite a lot. And this is the lovely Tish Jennings. So she works for UVA and she has her doctorate in education. And me and Adriana had the luxury of interviewing her about what she thinks it is because she studies only teachers. So like that's what she does is she studies teacher burnout specifically. So she basically does a whole bunch of research and writes books and things as such to tell us that it's not just about underpayment or whatever, it's also about how teachers feel mentally and what they can mentally handle and how they are mentally feeling in the teacher. And so these are some stats that we did when me and Adriana presented to the high school faculty meeting on Tuesday. We asked them to fill out a survey, and here are some of the stats.
The first question was, have you had to take on extra responsibilities due to the teacher shortages? And 83% said yes, which is a good amount of our teachers. We've seen firsthand that a lot of teachers have been coming in and out of classrooms just personally just changing and switching off. The second question was, how has the teacher shortages affected your department? And 83% answered it has negatively affected my department, and 17% said it has had no impact on my department. I would say mostly for like the math department and reading English departments, it has definitely had a huge impact on. Like I've said, as we've seen teachers coming in and out, just trying to place off for substitutes.
So in the same survey, here are some more stats that we have found. Have you ever found yourself unhappy with this profession? 54% said yes, 46% said no. So over half of our teachers are saying that they have found themselves at least once unhappy with the profession of teaching. And the next question was, have you seriously considered leaving this profession? 63% said yes, 38% said no. So like I said, that's a big amount for seriously considering leaving teaching or just leaving Ellis County High School in general. So at the end of the survey, we asked them, what do they think is a potential solution for the teacher shortage, or how could we improve it? One teacher said decreasing teacher workloads, funding more teachers and support positions, relaxing the pressure put on teachers to rehabilitate students post-COVID. So like Adriana said, the math department especially, I know, and the reading department are trying to catch up from the effects that COVID had on us students, and that's a lot of pressure for a teacher. Another one is pay scale should improve as you have more years of experience. For example, our scale is much better at the beginning of the career versus the end. And finally, I wish I knew. I love what I do and don't have plans to leave, but I am discouraged by the revolving door. I'm devastated by the loss of nearly all of my teacher friends, and we are as well. Good teachers that we love and adore and have a really close relationship with are leaving, causing us to be just as upset as well. I know when one of my favorite teachers, Ms. Scott, that I met earlier, when she left, it broke my heart because, like I said, she wasn't just a teacher. She was someone that I could go to, relate to, so on and so forth, and I think Anna feels the same about her
Personally, as a student, when you're going through your 4 years of high school, it's very sad to have your teachers just leave you, especially when it's in the middle of the semester. It can be very heartbreaking and hard to get used to a new teacher and their new teaching abilities and habits. So these are the statistics of the pay decrease. I had the Nelson County pay group, which is right there. Yeah. So Nelson County starts out at $56,042 with a bachelor's degree, and then at And then at 15 years, it is $60,395 with a bachelor's degree.
And for Albemarle, they start out at $55,570, and that's for a bachelor's degree. So starting out, step 0, we make more than Albemarle does, which is a school that's 3 times the size of us. It's in the inner city, a lot tougher kids, a lot more kids, so on and so forth. And Amherst, who's not quite as big as Albemarle, but still twice the size of Nelson County, they start out at $47,750. We start now still make more than they do. And at step 15, which is you've been teaching for 15 years, Albemarle offers $67,454. So they are making a significant amount more money than we do, but like I said, bigger school, inner city, lots of things to deal with. And we are still making more money than Amherst. Like I said, more kids, twice the size of us, and they are making at step 15, $51,821.
And then at $30,000, Nelson pays out $73,582 with a bachelor's degree.
Yes, and then Albemarle pays $81,881 at step 30, and at step 30 for Amherst, they pay $62,605. So we are still making more than Amherst throughout all of the years, and like I said, if you look at Albemarle, we kind of equal it.
It was also very well because
Yeah.
Nelson and Amherst are very close, and a lot more kids go to Amherst too. So that's pretty.
Okay, so this is the Turning the Tide program. So the Virginia Department of Education noticed that, look, like we have an issue, we're not being able to refill all these positions, and it's affecting us as students, and it's affecting the education and the youth of our generations and society. So this is not a end-all, fix-all, but this is a potential way to at least improve the teacher shortage. So the committee made considerable efforts at constructing a very strategic plan that encompasses the overview of the shortage along with recommendations for actions over the upcoming 3 years. So this was, like I said, this is a state issue, not just locally what we're dealing with. And then these are our citations for the stats that we have. And that's all. We're done.
Thank you.
Thank
Excellent.
Very nice. Okay. Now we have recognitions. We have 1 Nelson Awards. Dr. Hester.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. All right.
All right, so as a reminder, the One Nelson Awards is something that's been developed to really promote and kind of celebrate the One Nelson mentality, which shows and proves that it takes everyone involved, whether it's a staff member and all types of staff members. Much of what these 2 young ladies talked about is it doesn't matter if it's core content, elective, and really, quite frankly, what we also call classified, so all of our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, our front office aides, our instructional aides, everyone is a huge component of how we make this work, because you take them out of the component and it does not work. So it's something that we very much want to be able to celebrate, because we also, as she stated, we're committed to being able to support the value of everybody. And although it might not always be a result of pay, but it definitely can be a result of that emotional and mental support that you get doing a very difficult job. So I wanted to be able to take the time to be able to celebrate the individuals that we have here. And I keep stalling so I can find the right one. There we go. All right, no one knew that was happening. All right, so what I do is I'll invite the individual to come up and stand, and then I'll be able to read what was submitted. So you know we posted the forms for nominations on Facebook. We've sent them out. So many times these are not necessarily the central office. This is coming from peers, it's coming from family, it's coming from all different individuals throughout the community. As you'll hear a little bit about that tonight. So the first person I would like to celebrate is our student representative. So would Ms. Sadie Whalen please come up. Congratulations. You can stand and permit me to read it so you can read it along with me. So Sadie serves on the Tye River Safety Patrol. We're selected. You have to read along with me. And you want to read it? Okay. So Sadie serves on the Tye River Safety Patrol, where selected students support their student peers coming into school and traveling throughout the hallways. A confident child, she works hard to support and stands up for others. Sadie has demonstrated such incredible resilience despite losing her father, Staff Sergeant Matthew Whalen, when she was only 3 years old. And she continues to flourish as a student at Tye River Elementary School. Sadie is not only a Gold Star student at Tye, she is a Gold Star Kid. Gold Star Kids is a nonprofit organization for child survivors and military parents. And she recently attended the Snowball Express with the Gary Sinise Foundation in Disney World, which I believe you were wearing that very same shirt when you went down there. So we were able to kind of take our pride and our One Nelson mentality down with you to Florida, and we greatly appreciate that. So I want to congratulate you on continuing your commitment to your peers and supporting them and being a stand-up person for everybody. So I appreciate it very much. And we're going to take a picture. So you, Mom, you want to? Okay. Yep. So we're going to take 2 steps to your right, and we'll get that out of the way. Oh. Congratulations. And we'll on them up. So you get them up too. All right. Yes. Congratulations. Thank you so much. All right. Our next individuals are community members. So I would like to invite Ms. Allegra Johnson up, please. Get the hot seat. Congratulations. All right, so Ms. Allegra Johnson was nominated for this award for her outstanding dedication to Nelson Parks and Recreation and NCPS, all while balancing her full-time job. Allegra's commitment to supporting her community is evident in her consistent presence at Nelson games and events, where she offers her unwavering support to friends, family, and students. She's one of the most honest and supportive community members I know. She also exemplifies what it means to be an incredible friend. She has gone out of her way countless times to give my child amazing pep talks before his games, and Allegra's selflessness and dedication have positively impacted both the school and wider community for years. Her remarkable service and unwavering support make her a truly deserving candidate for this award, as she continues to enrich the lives of those around her with her kindness and generosity. So thank you so much for all that you do, not only for us, but all for our Nelson community, because that is exactly what this is embodying. So thank you so much. Congratulations. Who are our picture takers? All right, so here you go. All right.
Thank you.
All right, next up is our classified employee division representation, and that is David Johnson. All right, so Mr. Johnson is head custodian at Rockfish River Elementary School, and David has kept our school clean and shiny while also having a positive attitude and friendly demeanor with other staff and with students. Mr. David, as the students refer to him, shows care for all the students by frequently speaking with them in an encouraging way and helping them in any way that he can. His interactions with staff are unfailingly positive and helpful, no matter how busy he gets or how much is going on during a busy day. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. So congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you so much to your mother. All right. Thank you so much. And unfortunately, our last award winner was not able to make it this evening. She's been quite busy over the last 4 months. She is Ms. Diana Driver. So for those of you who don't know, Ms. Driver is in charge of our drama and theater department, and she's been busy working on Mamma Mia. So I will read to you what was shared with us about Ms. Driver. Diana has made this school district an overall better place. From her positive attitude to her amazing productions, she is just overall an amazing person. She deserves this award more than anyone. She is great as a person, as a teacher. A kind and talented person, she finds a way to bring out the actor or actress in all of us. She demonstrates the One Nelson spirit every time she brings her cast and crew together in her awesome musicals each and every year. So I want to say thank you so much to Ms. Driver. She would be the first to say it is the crew that works with her that makes it all happen, which just goes to show how humble that she really is and how much of a great team player and further the One Nelson mentality that she displays. And so I'm so happy she was able to get the evening. Her husband was able to plan a night for them to do some things, so I certainly can support and encourage that. But anybody who's worked with her in the musicals, and Mr. Kirshner has done a great deal of work, and everybody has. She's a wonderful person and is fully committed to everything, and no more individual than committed to the students. And so I just appreciate everything she does, and thank you so much. So thank you, Ms.
Okay. Now we're at comments from board members. Ms. Powell.
Did you want to?
Trying to release everybody.
Hmm? Oh, yes. Yep, this is the obligatory. Everybody's free to go if they so choose. You don't have to sit through the boring parts of our meeting. You're more than welcome to, and we'd love to have you.
So that the students can hear, amazing job.
Absolutely.
Really great.
Thank you so much.
That is hard to do, and it's hard in an environment like this, and you all did, you will represent well when you go to Virginia Beach.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
So proud of you.
So professional.
And thank you to all the One Nelson Award winners. They're
Yeah.
very deserving.
Yeah. Yay!
Bye, Savannah. Congratulations.
Now we're just down to the hardcores. All right.
Okay.
So I think we just said that the FCCLA presentation was so
Oh, my
good. To think
goodness.
that they are high schoolers presenting in front of a group like this, that's pretty spectacular. So that was nice to see. I would love to see more of those student presentations. That's what we're about. One Nelson winners, congratulations to them as well. The play was fabulous, Mr. Kirshner. I'm telling you, the kids all did a fantastic job, but seeing your daughter was, and I said this before, Katie came home and she said, Mr. Kirshner's daughter grew up. So, well done. So many good things happened at the school, but I'm going to hand it off to Ms. Turner-Giles.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo, I know Addison and Adriana, and I have seen them grow up, and they did an absolutely amazing job. They will represent us well in Virginia Beach, and just looking forward to hearing more from the both of them. Certainly, congratulations to One Nelson, but Mamma Mia, you all outdid yourself. I just wish Ms. Driver was here. Certainly glad that she's finally taken some time off. I had the pleasure of seeing the show 5 times, and I could have seen it 5 more times. It was outstanding. And it was interesting talking to the people sitting around me. A large majority of them were community members that did not have a child in the school. So I thought that was just phenomenal to know the support that we have from our community. When our children do something, they are there. Certainly, Kiki, you were amazing. And I know how much fun the play was. Ms. Driver does a great job. There were over 50+ students in the play. So just so proud of that. And looking forward to, as I know several of the seniors are, spring break that's right around the corner.
Well, I just am going to echo what they said. I did not get to see the play, unfortunately, but I definitely have gone in the past, and I know you guys killed it. Yeah, thank you for everything, I guess, and that's all I have to say.
So, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but my wife and I were able to go to the Friday show of Mamma Mia, and it was nothing short of amazing. I'm always just, I shouldn't be amazed anymore because we've come to expect it, but you all take these kids, and I know a portion of these kids are like, I can't sing, I can't dance, you know, and whether it's playing an instrument in the band or acting on stage or singing, you know, whatever it happens to be, and you all are all like, oh, you absolutely can, you got a beautiful voice, you know, and it was just amazing. I mean, I was very convinced of all the characters and everything, so you guys just did a fantastic job. The One Nelson Award winners, I love the One Nelson Awards. I love the theme of One Nelson. Thank you for coming up with that. That is just, you know, and to have a student carry that on a trip to Florida, you know, what shirt are you going to wear? One Nelson, you know, so that's good. And also, the presentation was just amazing. And they are going to do a great job representing us. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to move on now to dates that we need to be, the important dates. So March, we celebrate 3 things in March. One is National Nutrition Month. Another is Women's History Month. And then we also celebrate National Reading Month. Okay. Today, in addition to being Pi Day, again, is kindergarten registration. We also expect to be voting on our budget this evening and hope to be passing that along to the Board of Supervisors, right? Report cards go out tomorrow. And then what do we have? The 19th and 21st. We have Family Teacher Conference for secondary and Family Teacher Conference for elementary. What else do we have on here? Spring break is April 1st through the 5th. And we may have a surprise for the end of that by the end of our meeting. What else? We're not looking so far as the end of school yet, are we?
Well, yes, they are.
They are.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and that's a capital T on day.
Capital T.
But we'll take it right now, month by month. But this, for this time, through the end of the year, it's going to go by quickly. And so it's the same thing that we've said to every senior and every senior parent is don't blink, because this is going to go by quickly. So every one of those moments, every one of those things, from, driving them around to doing their laundry, to cooking meals, to going to the plays and things that they're involved in, because that too shall come to an end, and it is a wonderful time, because then it ends a chapter and a new one begins, in all the different pathways. So it will go by quickly. So let's not rush it anymore.
And one other thing of note, April 4th is Dr. Hester's birthday. Wanted to bring that
Spring
up.
break.
You're welcome. All right, let's see.
Now it's her comments.
Huh? Yeah, no,
Okay.
I had it blown up. So now we're down to comments from the superintendent.
Thank you. Thank you for, I had never seen Mamma Mia before. And usually I do my research ahead of time on whatever production I'm going to go see so I can know everything ahead of time. But I didn't. And I'm so glad I didn't, because it was so cool to be able to watch everything happen, see it unfold, and then go do the research. And I'm like, this is exactly what I just watched. And the music was fantastic. And blown away. Wanted the percentage, over 50 kids represented. Well, our percentage of our high school, that's a huge chunk. And so kids who've never done it before, or they're athletes in a spring sport, so they're going to their practices, and then they find the buy-in to Ms. Driver and Mr. Kirshner and everybody to then give up more time to stay longer to be able to do this, because it's an experience of a lifetime. And those memories that are created are going to be the things that they think about throughout their life. And so it's so great to be able to witness that and see it happen. So thank you so much. It was a great job. I've had a chance to conduct multiple superintendent advisory meetings. I meet with staff, I meet with students, I've met with all the student groups thus far, and then also family and community. So just being able to have the multiple opportunities for feedback and connections has really been great to see people becoming comfortable with that and really providing great feedback. We did have a snag in our after school. So I just want to make people aware that, the provider that we've been using for after-school care that had been located primarily at Rockfish has fallen through. And I want to thank the individuals, our NCPS staff, that have stepped up and said, I will do that. I will spend an additional 3.5 hours if that means it's going to support our families and make their lives easier. So I cannot be more thankful to those individuals being willing to do that, because it's another additional 30% of their day being spent working with kids that may or may not be the ones that they see every day in their school. And that to me is extra special, that they're willing to do that for our students, because they're our students. So I'm so thankful for that. And other than that, other than just looking forward to we got remediations A lot of our springtime remediation starting, whether it's tutoring or SOL remediations, that starts up really full go March 19th, whether it's built into the school day or it's after school. So we're really excited about the opportunities that our students will have to get ready and be prepared to feel confident to be successful.
All right, thank you. Let's hear from our student representatives.
Yes, sir. I have to bring up Mamma Mia again. I got a chance to usher every night, and I was so lucky to be able to see it 4 times. It was amazing. Everyone did a great job. Spring sports have been going on. Our teams have been really well, especially soccer, boys and girls soccer. We had really big wins last night. We had a pep rally that was a lot of fun to kind of put a start to spring sports. It was a lot of fun.
We also had the FCCLA doing a tab drive, so like recycling the tops of cans, and they're like, kids are motivated to donate for like a free breakfast, but it's not just that, it's also helping those in need. And on the same note, there's the NHS and BRBGS hygiene product drive that's going to be distributed in March at the local food pantry as well. And this week on Tuesday, a group got to go to the elementary school and read to the kids, and I got to be lucky and go, and it was so fun to see all the schools. I got to go to Thai River first and then Rockfish, and I know everybody had a blast. It's so great that Miss Clark and others like set it up so we can all do that. It's really rewarding.
Good, thank you.
If I may interject, it is springtime, and major projects and other events are starting to take place. So if you will indulge me to allow them to go, there's an English project that is due.
Sure.
So my apologies, and here's my contribution to the tab. But yeah, they may have to leave a little bit early, so just so you know, they spoke to me ahead of time, and I want them to do well on their projects. So.
Absolutely. You know your time's,
Yes.
your time is valuable.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for coming.
yes,
at
thank
all.
you very much. And thanks for doing this role.
Yes. We'd love to hear from you.
Good luck on your projects.
Okay, now we're comments from the public. Do we have anybody signed up to speak? Okay, anybody? All right, now we're at the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the second reading of the meeting minutes from January 11th, 2024 regular school board meeting, the registers from February of 2024, and the monthly financial report for February of 2024. Are there any questions or discussion about these items? All right, I'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, we're at items for information. First thing is meeting minutes, first reading for the school board meeting on February the 8th that we had. Also, first reading from the school board meeting on February 22nd. One of those two, the 8th was a workshop, I believe, the budget workshop. So, are you reading the proclamation?
You are more than welcome to do so.
Well, Margaret volunteered. So.
I did not,
Fantastic.
but I will.
Well, she volunteered. Sorry.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So we are at item C. This month, March, is Equity in Education Month, and Ms. Claire is going to read our proclamation.
If I don't, yeah. Whereas the Commonwealth of Virginia believes each child in our public education system deserves to receive what they need when they need it to advance student outcomes, and whereas inequities in schools have become an increasingly significant challenge in the United States and Virginia, and whereas unfinished learning exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic impacted every school division in Virginia, and whereas the promise of public education is for every child to be successful in school and life in every locality and every community in Virginia, whereas it is important for Virginia families, school boards, students, teachers, and school administrators to be aware of the diverse needs of learners and to encourage discussion of the challenges as a school community, and whereas the VSBA has established a task force on students and schools in challenging environments to make recommendations and to stay at the forefront of discussions on academic excellence in Virginia schools. Whereas the task force has published 3 reports, including the state of students and schools in challenging environments in Virginia, the global health crisis and its impact on student performance, and whereas we recognize that inequities in resources, including educational settings, supplies, technology, and buildings, impede student learning. Now therefore be it resolved that the Virginia School Boards Association recognizes the month of March 2024 as VSBA Equity in Education Month, with the intention that educational equity, best practices, and programming be discussed in Virginia's schools, communities, and classrooms during that time. And be it further resolved that Nelson County Public Schools and the Nelson County School Board recognize the month of March 2024 as Equity in Education Month to spread awareness, examine, and discuss strategies and review current trends and best practices that will positively impact the educational outcomes for all NCPS students.
Thank you. So be it resolved.
You're welcome.
Okay.
That was long.
It was long. Okay, so now Dr. Hester is going to let us know about some VSBA policy updates.
Yes, it is February, which is equivalent to policy updates. And so as you take a look at the policies and you go through, there are a few deletions that you see. There will be, as you read through them, a couple where it will require making some decisions on a selection or a choice. And so I'll bring your attention to item IKFA, locally awarded verified credits, where the school board will need to decide and make a choice specific to one of those options. Also, we currently, through JFCF, are abiding by option 2 under drugs in schools, just kind of refreshing. We will need to add an additional link under JHCL for lactation support for students. I will also draw attention to item KLB, public complaints about learning resources. So there are 2 possible options, so it will just require kind of reading through and considering what we feel is the best choice for Nelson County Public Schools. But other than that, there were just updates and some changes, but those are the ones where action and selection will need to take place.
Any discussion on that? Questions? All right, moving along. Now we have updated information on the capital improvement plan from Mr. Les Campbell.
So as you can imagine, we have a lot going on right now. Some good news tonight. The roof project is complete. We've done a walkthrough Tuesday, and there's a small punch list. They will be coming back during spring break to repair those items, and this project is over with. So.
Another 30 years.
Right, exactly.
Congratulations.
Yes, great job.
Some of the capital improvement plans we've working on has been talking about this chiller for a year now. It's in place, and we expect it to be up and operational by next week. So that's one of the 3 chillers that we will be replacing coming up soon. Some of the issues we're running into with phase 1 of the project is trying to meet the June deadline for the grant money, because we're not guaranteed after that whether it's there or not. So we've been really trying to nail down when we can expect some of the items to be shipped, and so Shannon can try to get as much of this incorporated into the phase 1 grant portion as much as we can. I wanted to share with you some of the ship dates that Honeywell has shared with me this week. As you can see, some of the chillers aren't expected to be shipped until December. So a lot of these are going to carry over into 2025. And so that's the challenging piece now. We were just talking about it, of how we're going to be able to see if we secure as much under the grant funding as possible, because obviously the more we pull out of the larger portion, the less we get done. So we're on top of that. I have asked Honeywell to coordinate with some of the smaller equipment that we know that we can get in time. So I'm working with them to try to get some of the smaller, like the mini split units, the hot water heater and stuff, trying to get that in as quick as we can. There's no really updates on the elevator as of yet. The garage, CT overhead garage doors, actually one is in place and operational. They started yesterday. So they started at the ag shop. That one's done. They are working today to put the one in horticulture, and then next week they'll go to the backside where the auto shop and all, and they'll install those next week. So we can check that off our list. They look really good. So the auditorium lighting, I'm trying to nail down with Barbizon to try to get them in spring break to start. They're expecting about 2 weeks to do for the project. And so, as you know, this is a busy time of year with the auditorium anyway, so I'm trying to really push to try to get them to start that week, so that's one of the 2 weeks, so take away some of the impact that we have in the auditorium during that period of time. The roof project, as I said, is done, and they're going to wrap that up in spring break. One of the things I didn't have a chance to add to this, the football field lighting panel. I just got that scheduled for spring break as well, so that would actually be one of those other projects that we have done before June. During the, Tammy, I don't know if you can scroll down. Can you back up just a bit? Can you click on the building scan? So one of and scroll down just a bit, please. Is it going to allow us to do it? I hope it does. Yes. Okay, if you can hit the start button there. If it load. This was back in January. We had the building scan done for the school. And Tammy, if you could tap on the front door on your screen and just keep tapping it. What's really neat is this is something they shared with us as part of the building scan. This is a virtual tour. So you can actually go through the entire school and walk through the entire school on your laptop.
The one day we had snow.
Yes. So, and this was part of the building scan that Mosley had conducted for the renovation. You can click out of it. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I guess we're kind of introducing this to you guys tonight, is the civil study that was conducted by Timmons Group. They cite civil study there. If you can click on that. Maybe not. So the civil study was looking at everything that was going on outside with their parking lots, their road going in front of the middle school to kind of come up in the bus loop, all that's crumbling. We've repaired it several times. This was part of that study, and I wanted to share it with you tonight. Hopefully we can pull it up. If you guys can pull it up, I don't know.
I've been getting blind.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll try to get it to you. I'll get it to you guys. So it's a lot of information. It's in there. It's going to take some time to read over. It took us some time to read over and absorb everything that they're asking. Basically, it's several. They've offered a couple options for the different areas, like the front bus loop. They've offered the option of milling down a little bit of the asphalt and just overlaying, which it's kind of just prolonging the inevitable, and then are taking all the asphalt out and applying more, different asphalt all the way from the bottom up. So and they had offered options, and I don't know if she can pick if that'll come up or not. The civil recommended options. So when we met on March the 1st with no, it's not. I'll get it to you guys. We met on March the 1st with Mosley and Timmons Group. We went over this whole civil study, and Dr. Hester, Shannon, and myself, we kind of asked them to give us what their recommendations were and the options, kind of give us some guidance on what they recommend. Of course, the road going up through the middle school and the bus loop, they recommend taking all the way down and bringing back. They recommended the middle school parking lot to mill down and reapply asphalt. There's some washout issues around some drainage that they're looking at. And they also, in that study, also talked about some future plans, like some ADA upgrades we can do for the football field complex. So that's in that as well. Like I said, I'll be sure to get it to you guys so you can look over it. But of course, that could be a future down the road. I guess all of that said, there's a potential to spend a lot of money outside before we even move inside with the renovation. So really wanted you guys to be able to have that information and look over it and decide what direction you wanted to go with that. And then I'll also share with the recommendations from Timmons as well. And then finally, oh, okay. I was trying something different this go around with that, so apparently it doesn't work, so.
I'm not sure they're gonna be able to give you that request in time.
There it is.
Okay. Oh, Camp, or who gave it? Vested or?
Yep, that first
Okay.
one there is a civil study there.
Do they happen to tell you what they thought the reason that the bus loop was messing up over and over again?
A lot of that, they're leaning towards the impaction and then water underneath, getting underneath of it and undermining the asphalt.
Is it just drainage or is it a spring or something?
I know, like, when you come down the hill beside the middle school there's a section there during the wet season that always seeps water out. And I do believe that's some type of spring there. I believe there's water undermining the asphalt there. So we had that probably 5 or 6 years ago patched in front of the middle school there.
Yeah.
And that looks just as bad, if not worse now than it was 5 or 6 years ago. So, yeah.
Water
Does the
moving.
solution include adding some drain? I mean,
Yeah, the solution is to repair, well, there's several options that they
okay.
offer
Does
there.
it make
and-
sense to spend the money to
To
just
put it
more
back,
asphalt
just to
on
have
if
it again.
it's gonna happen again, yeah.
Yeah, so, like I said, you can scroll through that. I'll be sure to get you guys that information, but there's a lot of information here. That's the manhole that's, you can see whether it's washing out around the drainage and things like that. That's the middle school parking lot. See the curbing kind of settling right there. That's just a lot of water washing out underneath. The front road. Then some of it's too is they're talking about there is the drainage. The ditches are filling in over time. They have filled in, and it's poor drainage. So they're recommending to open those ditches back up and getting that. You see where water collects. That's front of the greenhouse there.
And if I remember right, there's not a lot of fall between the edge of the bus loop coming from the middle school parking lot all the way down to the
Correct.
retention. There's not a lot of fall.
It's not, and then it's all filled in on top of that. So you've got pockets where water's just setting, so it's not draining as it should through there. Okay. Yes, ma'am. And then if you can scroll down, I don't know did my pictures show up there? There should be another page attached to that down at the bottom. Oh, so, yes, so these are the recommendations that they have offered to us as far as options of what they recommend we do for each one. As you can see, that top, that's the bus loop. They recommended removing the asphalt in its entirety and replacing. And you can, it's got the square footage in the first column, then the price on the second column there.
So, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Has there been any discussion about going down and chasing where the spring might be and trying to capture it and get it out to storm drainage so it doesn't do that?
It hasn't been, but that's something I can certainly talk to.
And I'm only asking that because the money's jumped up. It's almost tripled, or it is tripled, I guess.
Yes.
At this point. And obviously the potholes and the settling are coming because material's being carried with that water from one place to another. And if you didn't have good compaction to start with, then it's gonna leave. If we can go down and capture that somewhere before, during, whatever, and get it down to the storm drainage and make it leave.
Absolutely.
Then we won't ever have that problem.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, I do remember we walked the entire outside and I pointed that particular spot out because actually it was wet that day they walked, so they were aware of it, but I can continue that conversation and get a little deeper into that. The main thing is to build the foundation so we're not visiting this again in another 10 years.
Within the
Right.
cost constraints that have kind of been provided. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the challenging piece there. Yep. Yep, so can you go back to the original? Please. And scan down till you see some pictures. Maybe?
No.
They're not there, okay. So I've added these today, it may not have showed up, but I can get you these as well. So what we run into yesterday is, so our quarry tile floor at the high school, as we know, is beautiful floor, but it's aged. And we've got some areas where when you walk on it, it creaks and pops and moves and things of that nature. So we had a section yesterday that actually finally, the grout finally gave up and it popped the tiles up. So this is the section we have.
Where is it? Is this in the?
We saw this picture.
If you'll remember
Okay.
last October, that tour that we took,
Yeah.
it's right in front of those classrooms,
Yeah.
that- where we said, hey, this kind of feels,
The math.
So is
Math
it,
hallway.
area.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
do you all feel, or do the architects feel, engineers feel that the movement in that floor is any more than it was?
So I emailed Mosley this morning. They have a scheduled visit for next Tuesday anyway. So I kind of give them a heads up about this. His initial thought is thinking that the mortar just gave up over the years. And really what's holding the tile in place right now is the grout. So that is what his initial response was. But he's coming, like I said, Tuesday, and I'm gonna take him down to that area and kind of get a good feel for it.
That's why they sound hollow when you walk on them, because the mortar bed's giving them.
Yep.
Can you remind me what year those tiles were initially installed?
I do not know. Shannon, do you recall what?
It's either gotta be 55, 58, or 62.
And therein is my point.
Right.
I mean, it looks consistent with the origin of the building.
19.
In reflection of every other building built at that time with the same
Right.
tiles,
Sure.
it looks very consistent.
Yeah. So the good news is I was able to, at Lowe's, to get fairly close match so I can at least eliminate the trip hazard for now.
Right.
But I've given the square footage measurements to Mosley, so, and then we'll look at it again Tuesday before I cover it up. He will be able to look at the subfloor and things of that nature to see what direction we should go with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
You mentioned something about the football lighting panel.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there something going on with our baseball lighting panel? I noticed last night the soccer panel was working, softball was working, but the baseball was not.
Are you talking about the scoreboard itself?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So Greg had called me yesterday. I think it's something going on in the, I cleaned the terminal today. It's working as of this afternoon. So we've been on the phone with the manufacturer of the scoreboard. And we replaced the antenna at their recommendation, and it did not work. So I was actually, I went up myself today and I cleaned the terminals on the circuit board. And Greg come down and worked through the cycles and all, and it worked. So if that doesn't fix it, the next move is I'm going to order a circuit board for it. That was just something that just happened because last month we went down and run through all the boards, make sure everything was working and all, and everything was working as it should. And this is just something that just happened within the past couple of days. So yes,
Thank you
ma'am,
for
something
that.
is going on with it, but
I thought something was weird.
yeah.
Yeah, and I had asked Mr. Mullins about that last night, and he said, I've been spending hours on the phone with
Yes.
Daktronics trying to kind of go through the system and figure out what's going on, so.
And I spent probably 45 minutes to an hour on it today, cleaning this, going on the circuit board and cleaning all the terminals and all, and it seemed to work. Greg come down and run through the cycles, and we actually sat in there for about 30 minutes or so watching it, make sure it was working, so. but
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Quick question. With the lighting project in the auditorium, is there any need or opportunity to access upgrade controls for the sound system or any of that kind of stuff?
So that's going to be part of it too.
It is? Good. Okay.
Well, the board, Philip, if you can help me, the control board that's in the sound, that is being replaced.
I believe the lighting board?
Yes. So it's just all the lighting controls.
Is soundboard part of that also?
Is that
It's a separate board.
separate board? Okay, so it's going to be all the lighting controls piece of that.
Okay.
The large control board, the inner workings of the dimmer racks, all are going to be replaced, and then all of the lighting is going to be replaced.
And all the new lighting, stage lighting will be LEDs, right?
Yes. So I guess no, as far as the answer, no for the sound piece of it, but all of the lighting piece is going to be.
Right. Well, I think we'd like to, I mean, there's so many events there, we'd really like to figure out a way to upgrade the sound at some point, to be able to help with that, you know, with new headsets and.
Sure. While they're
sound
there, I
booths.
can actually get them to take a look at that and see if it's something service they can, Barbizon can offer.
Okay.
Then we can go from there.
And these lead times, I knew these were gonna be crazy, but is there anything we can do paperwork-wise to, I mean, are we in danger of losing out on grant money because of this?
I think everyone in the grant cycle that we're in are in the same boat, and what we were told is that the funds were appropriated during this biennium, and it would be up to the General Assembly to reappropriate them for the next biennium. So, puts pressure on our legislators to make sure that that happens, so that those
So
monies are reappropriated.
the lead times are not vendor specific, it is market specific.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's all across construction. I can't imagine when we undertake renovations in high school what that's gonna look like. It's insane. And it's stuff that you would never think. Some of the most routine stuff has long lead times now. So. All right.
And that's
thank you.
also the good thing about planning something that's in multiple phases and over the course of time, is that
Right.
helps buy in time for that,
That's
as
right.
well as the payment piece to it.
Right.
So,
That's right.
yeah.
Thank
Cool.
you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Doing a great job.
Thanks.
I appreciate your work.
Now, let's talk about the budget with Dr. Hester and Ms. Shannon Irving.
All right. I will go with you.
Oh, geez, you want me to go first?
Can you read that? Can you read that?
With glasses?
Oh, okay.
All right, so before you have the budgets that you have seen before. You see the current year's adopted budget, the governor's version of the budget, the Senate version, and the House of Representatives. And they approach the budget in different ways. The primary differences were in salary and compensation. So the governor's budget included a 1% bonus for staff members. And when a bonus is given instead of a salary increase, it affects only the salaries and FICA and workers' comp. The Senate and the House of Representatives gave salary increases. And salary increases include or affect FICA, VRS retirement, group life, the retiree health care credit, the Virginia long-term disability program, and workers' comp. So it affects more things, so the prices go up. So the Senate included a 3% raise for staff, the House of Representatives a 3.375% increase, and then there was crossover and the committees met and the General Assembly came out with a recommended budget. We still, as of today, don't have that calc tool, so we don't know how the overall budget impacted Nelson County. The superintendent's group has put forth their estimate of what the General Assembly budget would look like, but that number is based on 1,380 students, where we built the Senate, the governor's, and the House of Representatives budget on 1,430, so it's a 50-student difference. Typically, a student Nelson County is about $4,000 per student. It might be less now with the new composite index. So the number that we're showing as a deficit under the General Assembly budget, using the Senate budget's expenditures, because it included the 3% raise, would leave us with a $2,031,243 deficit. If we add 50 more kids at $4,000 per kid, we can subtract $200,000 from that number. So we would be at $1,831,243. Again, we don't have the calc tool, so this is just ballpark of what that number would look like. And it's actually not too far from the Senate number anyway.
And do we think we're going to get a count tool?
So in speaking with the state superintendent earlier this week, she indicated that they are due to submit a calc tool for review. However, they want it as quickly but as accurate, go through the process as quickly but as accurately as they can. I don't know if you guys remember, but last year there was a miscalculation using the calc tool, and so they were still playing catch up. So they just want to make sure. So that could mean they got the calc tool today and they can turn it around maybe early next week. But we've all been asking for it. There's an acute awareness that we are in need of it, so they are working through that process. But I don't have a date. So ultimately, it's not.
Right, so in my estimation, the Senate budget is probably the closest one to what our budget would finally look like at the $1,855,312 if you wanted to approve a budget that we had a calc tool for. Do you have any questions or anything that I could answer for you?
Well, just procedurally, I mean, our anticipation is to discuss this and to pass a budget tonight
Yes.
so that we can send it to the Board of Supervisors. We have 4 choices in front of us. And so do we need to, it looks like if we go with your recommendation, which you, and look, we know it's all fluid, right?
Right.
It's going to change. You get the calc tool tomorrow, it might jump up $200,000. So are you saying if we take your recommendation, then we should do the number, the recommended expenditures of the $33,036,792?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the budget that you would recommend that we would pass?
Yes, because
Is the
that
most likely.
includes a 3%
Okay.
compensation
Okay.
for staff.
Yes.
I wanted to know where we were going to land on that.
Which one is it, the 134,000?
Second one to the right.
Senate, so $1,855,312.
But
Is-
we're just,
Yeah.
036,719.
Yes.
We're not talking about,
And that's going to be important after we discuss,
Right,
because we
right.
need that number in the motion, so.
so that's the same number as the General Assembly recommended.
No.
Yes, I
No.
used the same number for the expenditures because it
Yeah,
included the
okay,
same
gotcha,
3%.
gotcha.
Yes,
Oh,
that,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. And the number changes, let me back up here for a second and go back to the top. So the House budget and the governor's budget, the expenditure numbers are different than the other two because of the way, the pots of money for the funding, is that why?
Yes, the
That's
governor's
right.
budget included the 1% bonus. The
Right.
House included 3.375, so
Okay.
instead of the 3.3.
Right, because there's certain mandated funding that goes within each one of those budgets, I guess.
Yes, and it does, it affects benefits differently
Yes.
too, so it's.
Right.
They all had a different incentive package, if you will.
I just think that's important because to the layperson reading this, they're like, well, wait a minute, why are your expenses going up and down? You know, based on the numbers, but the numbers aren't straight numbers. They're not saying, here's a check for whatever. They're saying, we want you to do this and this and that and that and
Yes.
that. And they all are saying different things.
Correct. No, it's not apples to apples,
Not
she
apples
said.
and apples, nowhere close.
And again, as a reminder, that far right, the General Assembly is working off of different numbers than what the other 3 are because of the enrollment projections, as well as some other.
And the General Assembly is congealed on that number, but the governor has not signed the budget at this time.
April 17th is the veto session.
Okay, gotcha.
projected?
April 17th, so that's a month.
No, that was me.
Oh.
No.
Questions, comments?
So we had, yeah, I don't have
We're
anything.
flying partially blind at this point, so we don't have all the information we need to have to truly make a decision. So I think we put something out there, and then we know we're gonna have to make some decisions.
This is really weird. This is, I think, my 6th budget cycle. I don't know if you remember how many you've done or you've done. But the first, like, 4, it was like, okay, this is what we have, this is what we have to do, here's the calc tool, da-da-da-da-da. And then starting last year, it was just weird, you know, because last year it was late and all that stuff. And now this year is, I feel totally blind.
I don't think we should feel totally blind, but we know that after, you know, even that we'll have to make some adjustments. And I feel like we've been through this before, so we know.
And I mean that from the state's perspective, not
Right.
not from
I
our
totally get
preparation.
it,
I think
yeah.
you all done a fantastic job
Yeah.
of putting this together, especially without a calc tool.
Right.
That's really difficult.
And been working and trying to update my counterpart as frequently as possible about what we're trying to do, so there's no confusion or anything coming out of nowhere. So there's been, I meet with Ms. McGarry every month. I met with her this week, so.
And Mr. Parr and I have had a chair-to-chair discussion on the phone. We've not gotten together and talked about any of this. You know, and we're hearing the same thing. I'm hearing the same thing that you're hearing. Money's tight on their end. And at this point, I mean, my opinion is that we need to move forward and pass our budget as you all have recommended it. When the calc tool comes in, easy to say, you know, then we start fooling with the numbers. But at the end of the day, it's going to be what they're willing to give us to fund our budget on top of what the state does. And, you know, and I want people to understand that there are a lot of unfunded mandates or low-funded mandates that happen with the school system. I mean, we've all had conversations about how we're doing a lot of things with school systems now in our school system that other people used to do. You know, there's all kinds of things that are going on. We have the Virginia Literacy Act that we're looking at now, right?
In effect.
In effect,
And
right.
in effect next year with training modules and reading specialist funding and the different things that need to take place and the approved materials, and there's just a lot of the plan that just in and of itself, the literacy plan, that takes a great deal of time and planning. Now I want to thank Ms. Douglas and her team. They were kind of ahead of the game in working through a literacy plan and doing an internal audit to go through and see where do we need to bolster this. And they have done a lot of legwork ahead of time. But with all these, with the legislation that's gone into place, it still requires a great deal of work and some changes that need to be made. So there's a lot to it, and that's just the VLA and standards changing.
Right, and that doesn't account for also, while it's all well-meaning and very good stuff, there's new mental health mandates and behavioral health mandates and attendance mandates and all of these different things that are coming out of Richmond. And I'm sure the people that are creating these rules are very well-meaning, but they don't, you can't just do it with water. I mean, it takes resources to do that, whether those resources are people or whether it's dollars or both to do that. And that's why budgets get to be the way they are, you know. So, and one of you two says regularly a budget of need, and I don't know what's going to happen going forward, you know, with what we're going to be funded. But in looking at this as much as I can look at it, I feel good about what we're presenting. I feel like it's as bare bones as we can make it right now. And that's also, aside from those other things, considering that, again, I strongly believe that school buses need to be in this budget. You know, that is important, you know, because we're going to keep on pushing the limits, and that's going to be a problem.
Right.
What's
I
that?
mean,
It's already.
Well, right, but I mean, it's going to be a problem staring at us, not a problem that's laying there. You know, and if I'm not mistaken, when we purchased our last 2 school buses, didn't we do that with like ESSER money or grant money? Yes, not the electric buses, the other buses.
Yeah, the other
We
one.
have not bought a bus out of local funding since.
The last time, the year before I got on the board. That was the
Yes.
budget cycle, 17.
it.
That was the budget cycle, was the last time we bought
Purchased
buses, and
those.
that's because we went out and bought them with extra money.
Uh-huh.
That's gotta happen. You know, that's not directed at you all. You all, I know you agree, I'm just saying. So, all
I
right.
agree with you. I mean, we've got to pass this. We've got to move on. We've done our due diligence.
Yeah.
And recognizing that changes will occur once we know more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No money's finite, but, you know, we've gotta do our best job to do the best that we can do, and I feel like that's what we've done. And then we will look at what the reality is after the fact and do the best we can with that.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I've said, I think, what I needed to say. I think, you know, you say the reality. Our reality is that there are needs that we have that we don't have the ability to fund. And I think we have mandates, dictates put on us on what we have to offer, what we have to do, but we are not always given the funding to do those things. And this is, as you said, and as everybody said, we're not asking for a lot. I mean, most of this money is tied into required pay, salary increases.
Composite index change.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say,
And
there's a
let
big
us
chunk
not
of that,
forget-
yeah.
I mean-
And I think, I mean, that's the elephant in the room that we keep coming back to, that is completely out of our control. And I know this, you guys are sick of me saying that, but it is out of control. And we can only live by the rules that are put in front of us and what we have to do, and doesn't change what our needs are. That's our needs.
Yeah, that formula, as unfair as it is, it's applied to every community in the state.
Yeah.
And the state doesn't care what a given county or city does with their land values and their tax receipts and whatever, they don't care. That's up to the locality, and this is where we are. And when we have a lack of services in a community, you know, it falls on the school system, which is the one entity in the community that is consistent to provide those things, you know?
Like
And
childcare.
Let me add, exactly, let me add that our requirement,
And
not our
mental health and
requirements,
behavioral
the
health.
things that we need to do to be good community partners, like when people like, can I say, back out of after-school care, then we've got our superintendents, literally our superintendents standing in to run that program after school until we can find people to do it. That's not something we have to do. Is it the right thing to do? No, is it the right thing to do? Yes. Do we have to do it? No. But we feel very strongly about supporting our community, our families in our community, and our kids in our community. And so that's another thing that gets added to our list of things that we have to do. And no one has given us money for that.
And I'm quite certain that the parents that take advantage of that program, if they had a free version of that within their family to take advantage of, they would be doing so, right? So they're not doing it because they're like, yep, that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I'm sure they want to do it, but that's because they don't have a family option or whatever, like some people do. So,
Well, the
and
other
again,
piece is
lack of
that
childcare services.
they're not working here in Nelson. They gotta go somewhere else to get that job, and so it takes them a little bit while
Right.
to get back, and they're trying. They wanna get back to their children, they wanna be with them, but that's just not an option for them to maintain their household. So that's a need that they have, and in order to keep them here in our schools, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Our demands and our expectations are gonna never lower. I mean, whether it's community or whether it's what we need to do to support our community. So, you know, I mean, I think we could continue to beat this,
And-
so to speak. I think we know what we need to do, let's just do it.
And I know I'm always seem to be the try to keep the lid on it guy, but listen, COVID was a game changer. You know, that we've got kids that are in the gap, that are behind, kids that need services, more services than ever, and where else are they going to get them? You know, I don't know where else they're going to come from than that. And our task as board members is to help you all turn out the best citizens that we can turn out of our school system that have the capability to do anything that they dream to do and make a good life and be good citizens and productive. And this is all part of that. So, anyway,
I'm okay with it.
any other questions? All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yes.
So do we need to add that on there?
No, it's already on there.
Where?
It was.
Oh, here it is, up here? No. Here it
Item
is, it's
C.
up here on
Item
this
C.
one. So what's this? Different than that, I guess after that?
It's an item for action. I'm not sure what that's for. We'll find out. Oh, that's after the meeting.
Okay, not after the meeting, but
Sorry.
after. Sorry, just point of order.
Yeah,
My
gotcha.
bad.
Okay, now we are at Pathways to Success with Dr. Hester.
All right. Uh-oh. Do I have my clicker?
Right here.
Is it right? Okay,
It
there.
was given back to me. And I
I know. Okay, all right. See if we're working. Awesome, we're on track. All right, so for administration, this has been budget season, so primarily that's where all attention has been focused. But there are some other things going on. We've had, this has been a year of federal program monitoring and audits and things of that nature. And so we were the lucky one of the lucky school divisions where all of our federal programs are being monitored this year. So we have gone through our special education audit update, which, just for reference, this is a multi-day process. Was it 3.5 days? It was about 3.5 days that involved quite a few of our personnel. So I appreciate everybody working hard and as a team to be able to get the data that's necessary to be able to do that. Also, we have Title III monitoring, which was, I believe, one of the highest compliments we can get is no findings, and it was the easiest, cleanest monitoring process of all the school divisions that they had done so far, and they only had one more left to do. And then we are looking forward coming up to our Title II. We have Title II, Title IV, all these different federal programs that we'll be going through. Also, participation in the EDA meeting, so that's a part of working with our county and looking for the funding sources for the projects that are coming up, not only just for the county, but for us as well, and trying to find a good funding plan for that. For instruction, like I mentioned, the Title I and Title III monitoring that took place and the collection of all the evidence. We also had, we'll be working through a continuous needs assessment. We do have some schools that have scored a level 2 or level 3 in some of the categories, so we'll be going back through. I mentioned when we passed the strategic plan that we've attached all of our school improvement plans, and there's a direct alignment to what our goals are, to what our improvement plans are, so we're just going to go back through and be able to submit that and the things that have been done to address any kind of areas. We held literacy nights the end of February at both Rockfish and Ty River on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which is a really great opportunity to be able to bring some community resources in to promote literacy. Our nutritional services provided dinner that night. We had individuals from Wintergreen being able to present information. At Rockfish, it was about bears. And so it was just really cool to see the families there and some bingo to try to provide some fun and entertainment while there's that literacy and academic piece to it. Working through the bottom picture you see, working through our after-school care and program, and really it's morphing into an after-school kind of an intervention program. So they do several different from kind of a STEAM, working with Legos, through reading opportunities, some math. I've never seen a group of kids that the first thing they come in, they're looking for, they want to play games that are math-oriented, and it's very cool to be able to see that. And then we also have tonight, which is taking place right now, kindergarten registration. So this is really important to be able to get that knowledge of registering school and getting parents involved and getting the kids set up so we know what's going on. Also, Child Find is taking place, which is a really important process to be able to identify students and be able to working and getting a great plan for them. Working through the lead innovator for profile of a graduate that we're developing. Also, we had multiple reports due to the state for like civil rights data collection, the SBAR, all the different various things that were required. The bottom right picture you see, we talked about the Virginia Literacy Act. So now every month for the rest of the school year, there'll be training programs involving individuals designated by the division. So as you see, we have a principal, our reading specialist, instructional coach, director of instruction, and I was there as well to be able to go through all the different expectations and what we can anticipate. Human resources communications, this is what I like to call the hiring season. So there's a lot of time and resources dedicated to going out and recruiting. Some of the biggest ways we can impact student learning outside of the classroom is by recruiting and retaining the high-quality staff and bringing in the best candidates that we can for the positions and needs that we have. So Ms. Choate and her team has been going out actively recruiting and trying to bring in the best and the brightest that we can, whether they are brand new to the profession or we are encouraging a higher quality of life by coming here to Nelson County. Also been working collaboratively, attending Association of School Personnel and Administrators meetings and professional development for those individuals, conducting a survey to our current staff and some individuals, particularly our new hires, of what candidates are saying about the hiring process here in Nelson County, and also why Nelson. Why did you come here? Why are you staying here? Because the more we learn about that, the better it is, one, for us to promote, but also for us to support. Because if there are things that we need to be working on, that's what we want to do. So I appreciate that effort. Continue with March meetings, meeting with teachers and working with provisional licenses and also other recruiting fairs. We just submitted to our region our VDOE hometown teacher grant. So for those teachers who have grown up through Nelson and have satisfied some criteria, like at-risk students, grew up through Nelson and now come back to be teachers in Nelson County, putting some applications for grants to be able to pay off loans and be able to support them. So we were able to put in some applications for that. Pupil personnel, in-person SPED physical audit has taken place. Also, we have upcoming family events. There's a reoccurring theme. We've had an ongoing expectation of really increasing and promoting our family and community engagement. Part of that is also having some unique events, such as Youth Mental Health and Substance Abuse Seminar coming up Tuesday, March 26th. We also had first IPOP meeting at through JMU, where the focus is on inclusive practices. So supporting those students who need more supports and help from us within the classroom. March, a Special Education Advisory Committee took place Thursday, March 7th. Also, SPED professional development is taking place throughout the month. So there's a lot of things going into to kind of give back and support the teachers that we have so they help out our students with some unique needs. For technology, networking equipment, RFPs, working through E-rates. We also had NCPS wide area network service contract with Centel is expiring, so we're looking for an RFP to replace that or to continue with. We also have that, like I said, the E-rate, the bus wireless RFP coming up. Also continue with the Promethean board active panel. I'm sorry, I just got a little happy click right there. Working with professional development for instructional aides. They're in the classrooms working with our students as well. The Vivi digital signage, when you first came in, you saw some signs going across the Promethean board. There's a process where you can create maybe club advertisements or important messages that go through, and you submit it through and it flashes through the different boards that we have all throughout our schools. And so it's a great way to send an important emergency message, but also to be able to have announcements or marketing for the different various things going on in our buildings. In terms of maintenance, and Mr. Campbell kind of ran through the CIP process and the different projects that we have going on. So in addition to the daily maintenance requirements and responsibilities, it's all those other projects as well. So Honeywell has been in the process of installing, he spoke about that chiller, that's that upper left picture. We've also had work to replace some bulbs out in the middle school gym, the main gym, to be able to go through and replace it. Also installed a new camera in the middle school gym for athletics to stream games, which has been a huge advantage to a lot of our families to be able to, they might not be able to make it out, but extended families have been able to have access to being able to watch these games. I know having family in Maine and Indiana, that's been really important for us to be able to take access, so I know how meaningful that is. Several members of the maintenance team were able to attend the conference, so as we talk about our strategic plan is the support of professional growth, and it's a professional growth for everyone in every position to be able to have the opportunities to be the best that they can be, not only in that position, but also maybe future positions that they can have some mobility for. And also, the maintenance team is doing their part to ensure the county residents know, so they were extremely helpful in placing the kindergarten registration signs all throughout the county. We had the yard signs, and we also had these big vinyl signs that we're able to place, and we'll be able to figure out how to use and reuse year after year, because they're pretty cool. You can see them from a pretty good distance, and it really advertises that event. We talked a little bit about transportation and the need for more buses, although we do have our electric buses, and they are in use. And I feel like Mr. Ashley is working really hard to be able to collect the data that's on that to evaluate its efficiency. Feels like there's some the software program that monitors it for the charging station shows some impressive data. Since we've been starting our buses, the black boxes on the right are showing some of that data. I know that's something, Mr. Chief, that you're always interested in, and he's always willing to kind of give you a little bit more, find out specific data that you're really, really wanting to look for. Transportation's also been working with VDOT to get the school bus stop ahead signs placed in 2 locations. Appreciate the efforts of the Sheriff's Office to work with our bus drivers to facilitate safe egress out of our parking lots. At the end of the day, we're just continuing to go through other measures to make sure that our community recognizes the necessity to slow down and stop when the signs are out and blinking lights and the stop signs. So working on those various signs to be able to alert people to look for stop buses. We also have been working to get quotes for a chain hoist. We talked about the diesel engine that we were able to procure, but we need the chain hoist to be able to lift it up and actually drop it in to the bus and be able to work from there. And we're exploring options with App Garden, which is currently used for routing to provide software to manage field trip requests and vehicle maintenance. So a lot going on for our transportation department. And for food nutrition, we mentioned that March is Nutrition Month, but we also had our National School Breakfast Week, which had a theme of Surfs Up. So that took place the 4th through the 8th, which is really neat. Our school cafeteria workers, they're kind of the hidden heroes. They're not always out in front of everyone. They're back in the kitchens and they're in the serving lines. But they really go all in and they get in the spirit. They were wearing leis or, Hawaiian shirts, and they're just doing everything they can to make it a fun experience for our kids. Not only just because they're serving them food, but they really just want to make that valuable learning experience. So they go all in for that. They also continue with their professional development, attending Blue Ridge Co-op buying group to be able to look for further ways for scratch or near scratch options. I know Ms. Cannell is looking for and applying. We've gotten some grants. I know we'll talk a little bit more about that next month, just when they come to a little bit clearer picture of what they are. Today was Pi Day. Why do we call it Pi Day? Because it's March 14th, third month, 14, 3.14, the long number. So in order to do that, I appreciate our cafeteria workers. They served a little slice of pie for all the kids and staff members that went through the lunch line. And so you see some of our kids, one on the left enjoying a healthy, nutritious lunch, but also the one on the right, which you gotta love it, is one of the cafeteria manager's children. It was not lost on me that nothing else was touched on her plate, but she is getting after that piece of pie and enjoying it. So that's just another way that our cafeteria loves to get into the spirit of celebrating things. Meals served this month, we talk about it. We're community eligibility program. All students that go through our lines at breakfast and lunch get a free meal. We serve 12,142 breakfasts, 20,511 lunches, and 797 meals. I'll say it once, I'll say it every time. You cannot learn if you're hungry. And this is one of those things that we will make sure that our students have an opportunity to get a meal if they're not eating, because we know how that connection works. Not only can you not learn, you don't feel good. And so we want to make sure that all of our students have a chance to eat. I told you about how we have an extra emphasis on our community engagement events. So for the month, obviously Mamma Mia, we talked a lot about Mamma Mia. It's the ending scene right before the happy couple walks off. We also had our FCCLA students provide childcare for those families that wanted to be able to go and see the play but didn't necessarily want to have their child sitting in there. We had some childcare for them taking place. It was Read Across America week, and also an emphasis on literacy for the month. So we had various guest readers going into our elementary schools, such as the Sheriff's Office, students from the high school from different student groups, all had a chance to go and visit our elementaries. And not only did the elementary school students love it, the high school kids were really excited about it. I happened to be there when they were coming back after it, and they were just abuzz about being able to see the little kids and that experience, so I appreciate it. Also at Rockfish, there was a masquerade dance. where you see some fun pictures that were taking place and the kids enjoying it. There's a whole division-wide campaign. It's been going on all year and even parts of last year on attendance and getting our community educated and involved in supporting compulsory attendance and attendance to school. We also, Ms. Misty over at Ty River conducted LEAP, literacy, eating, and activities with preschoolers, where there was time dedicated to talk about healthy eating and reading to the students and really promoting healthy behaviors. Talked about the literacy nights before, where they provided, where there was food provided, there were activities provided, and also Ty River did a Love That Dog. There was a book that they had that they read, and they invited Almost Home in, which was a local shelter, where Almost Home staff were able to explain the adoption process and the various things that go into what they do and how they serve and the direct connections to Love That Dog book. And it was really cool to make those meaningful and relevant connections to reading and a local organization that, you know, deserves support as well. And last, we had a talent show going on for the high school, which is, if you don't see the talent that's on display in the musical, you get another view of some other talent that you just really, you might not see on a daily basis for some of our students, but they get up there on stage and you just are wowed by what they do. And then our spring sports, both at the middle school and the high school, are in full swing and promoting sportsmanship. So that is all that I have for our Pathways to Success. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
I just feel like I haven't done nothing in the last 30 days, you know what I mean, compared to that. I've slept most of the time.
Okay, now we're down to items for action, and we have a tire changer that is a surplus item.
George,
Yes?
the April 8th day, we need to discuss.
Oh, we do, I'm so sorry. Yes. So, I'm sorry, we have one more item for information, and that item for information is, why don't you want?
Okay.
Oh, well, I
So-
can do it, I'll do it.
No, so
That's fine.
April 8th, for those of you who don't know, is the solar eclipse. Comes every few years. It's a really exciting event, particularly for your science lovers. And this year, a primary time for that event is around and I'm gonna get, the actual minutes may be off a little bit, but basically from around 3:09 to 4:15. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to apply the science of a lot of what we learn to an actual relevant activity. And so one of the things that we wanted to do is, in order to be able to celebrate that and do it in a safe way, we've ordered the solar eclipse classes for each of our students and our staff. And in order to be able to promote that kind of learning and the enjoyment of being able to see it, although we may not be directly in the path, we are in a path where we'll be able to see it. I appreciated Mr. Cheap's thoughts on the idea of being able to provide some time to be able to do that. And so one of the suggestions was to make it like a teacher workday green day. It's on the 8th. There aren't scheduled athletic activities, but that also would allow for sports teams to practice not in the prime time of when the solar eclipse would be taking place. So there's some safety aspects to it. And so that was something that was suggested that might be a good opportunity to be able to maybe have families celebrating and learning about the solar eclipse in a safe environment to be able to do that.
Thoughts? Discussion?
I think it's a great idea. I don't think really anybody's gonna be
No.
upset about it.
The only disappointment I have, and I shared this with Dr. Hester, was I remember when we were in junior high school, and it was such a big deal, but it happened at like 1 or 2 o'clock.
Right,
So
we all went
everybody was all in to
Yeah.
be able to look at
Yeah.
it safely or whatever. So it's a shame we can't make more of a teachable moment out of it, but learning skill out of it.
But you
Somehow I
definitely
feel-
don't.
Somehow I feel like the Green Day may be more appreciated than let's extend the school day and have them.
Oh, I agree, I agree.
But we
I
also
agree.
didn't want people like being on the bus or whatever and looking directly at it.
Yeah,
you know,
and kids
protected
driving
or
home from
whatever.
school during that
Exactly,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, the
There's a little bit of
transportation
safety,
piece
too.
is concerning.
Exactly.
The practice time is concerning, but also, it's hard enough to drive a bus full of kids, but like, no, keep your glasses on. Wait, no, don't look out the window. No, please don't do that. And it's one more thing for a bus driver to try to handle, and I think that I think it's cool. It's real life learning, And it can really be a great opportunity, and we've looked at some lessons and things and tried to promote that. So I worried about the drivers and the safety aspects of it.
And we are providing glasses, right? For everybody. Okay. So do
So
we
we
have?
need to make a motion.
Yeah, do we have thoughts on whether we want this to be a teacher work day or a green day? And we have room in the calendar for both,
I would default.
for either, I mean. is what
What's
I'm
the
getting at.
recommendation from the?
Green.
It's a green
I
day.
feel like that may be appreciated greatly.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So I think if we can provide the teachers with, provide everybody with a
Yeah.
green day,
Definitely.
then that'll have a better impact.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, wait, yeah, no, yes,
hello?
I'm sorry. Sorry, Green Day, yes. Yes.
Good man. So I'll need
a
a,
green day for all?
For 10-month teachers, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, 12-month will work,
12-month will stay at work.
yes.
and just to restate it, because we haven't talked about green days in some time, a green day is you're still working, but you're working
You're
from
still
home.
working, but you have a little bit more flexibility in the location from which you work.
Okay, you want to do it?
Well, are there thoughts? I mean,
I'm gonna default to what the recommendation is. Yeah.
And what you can do is if you want to establish it as a teacher day as we get closer to being able to evaluate some things. But I think Green Day gives the flexibility.
okay. I mean, as long as we're good on the calendar as far as days and hours, I'm all in favor of that. So, and we are, so.
I move that we make March 8th.
No, April,
Oh, sorry.
April 8th.
I wrote down March. I told you I didn't know what day it was. I move that we make April 8th a green day for the eclipse.
Yep, for 10
I'll
months.
second.
Okay, any discussion? Good? All in
No.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, so the motion carries.
Well, we just went to action on
That's
that one,
okay,
so-
we just put
all
that
right,
at the top
okay.
of the action, that's fine.
All right,
All right? So that's,
all right.
Tammy, that'll have to go at the top of the action items, I guess, on the agenda now. So, next thing on items for action is we have a surplus tire changer that we need to give approval to auction off. There's a picture in the agenda there.
I move that we approve the surplus tire changer for auction.
I second it.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a field trip request for the NCHS show choir to go to Maryland.
I'll make a motion to approve the overnight out-of-state field trip for the Nelson County High School Show Choir. They're going to Six Flags in Maryland in May.
Second.
Good detail. Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. What is now item D, approval of the superintendent's proposed budget for 2024-2025. I will need a motion with the dollar amount attached for expenditures.
I move that we approve the 2024-2025 operational budget of $33,036,792 for Nelson County Public Schools.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And finally, I will need a motion to go into closed session, and I know it's personnel, what else? And legal. For personnel and legal matters.
I move that the board go into closed session to discuss and consider the personnel report and other confidential personnel matters as authorized by Virginia Code 2.2-3711A1 for purposes of discussion or consideration of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. I also move that we go into closed session to discuss legal matters with possible conversations with counsel as authorized by Subject 2.2-3711A8 of the Code of Virginia regarding a specific legal matter or matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll close session.